I remember, like I'd went out because of the recovery process and everything. I was about 20 when I went to the Phoenix mission, and I remember because of the age change happening, a lot of them I expected a lot of my companions to be 18 or 19, so I knew I was like a little older, and I remember just being overall really grateful that I could go out because I know sometimes it's not the Lord's plan to have everyone serve a full 2-year mission or 18, and that doesn't, I'm not saying that I'm in any ways that I'm better than those people. I know that actually on my mission there, I ran across a talk by Oda Holland where he talks about the length of missions, like early people who come home early from their missions, because he expressed in there that really helped me was that sometimes the Lord only wants you to serve a certain amount of time. He's like, well, that was his thought process, is that maybe the Lord wanted you to only serve this much, and then to move on, that's all you needed in your life. And so and so that was just something I would recommend, is to think about that. And but I remember going out there and I was really nervous because I'd been about 7 months already in my mission, and I'm going to this new one, and I'm just like, well, I don't know any of the people, like any of the missionaries, and I was like, I don't want to be biased in thinking, oh, I served a foreign mission now and I have to go to the stateside. I remember some of my friends saying, oh, that stinks, like you won't get a real mission now because you're going stateside. And I'm like, well, like I still feel like it is a real mission because it really doesn't matter like where you serve, but how you serve. And I remember going there, and my mission president, he asked me, he's like, I read your report, like your medical issue you had. He's like, if you want, I can put you in a car the rest of your mission if that makes you feel safer, so you don't, get in another bike accident. And I remember just thinking right there and then that, I remember thinking like I could take that. It'd almost be a nice, easy, so I don't have to bike and exert myself. But I knew I remember telling him that, like if Heavenly Father had gotten me back out, then I can bike. I mean, it doesn't make me better or less. And so I remember doing that and saying, he's like, oh, thanks for that attitude about it, and because I didn't want to use my concussion as a crutch almost, because no one could really tell since it was just for me in my mind with that issue. And so I remember going out and serving in Phoenix. It was great. I loved it. It was really hot, but I really enjoyed it because I really just took that motto to life about each place you serve, you want to make sure you, for me at least, like I try to felt like I left a little piece of myself there, like a memory or a piece of me, and that I had hopefully done the Lord's will there. And so I remember there was a couple other missionaries who had also had accidents. They'd had accidents and they transferred in, and I know that some of them would think about their old mission, their foreign mission, and just wish they could go back, to that. But for me, I can honestly say that both missions really helped me in life. They've helped me since then, and I was able to use experiences from my foreign mission and my stateside mission, and I was also able to look back at my foreign mission and see things I learned and applied. And it was really amazing though, because of the foreign mission, I was able to, you study in a different language, and so you want to know the gospel really basically, and you teach it for the most part very basic. So when I went out to Phoenix, since I had grown up speaking English, I was able to have a lot more vocab at my disposal because that was like most of the people, everyone I taught knew English pretty fluently, so it was a lot easier. And so that was really nice. But I noticed I thought I would use more fancy words, so to speak, but I noticed I always just taught really simply, and that was something a lot of the missionaries would remark, like, oh, Elder Watson, why do you teach so simply when you have a pretty good grasp of the English language in terms of having a more impressive vocabulary. That's what a lot of them, the fellow missionaries, would say. And I think definitely I had an experience on my mission in Phoenix where I knew that that really reaffirmed that the Lord knows where you need to be at that time. And so I had an experience because in the Phoenix mission, at least, they were one of the missions that started using Facebook. And so I remember using Facebook to contact a friend of mine, and it was a old friend I'd met. like we grew up until about 9 or 10, and then he moved away. So I hadn't thought of him since then. And I remember just one night, like waking up thinking like I need to talk to him. I don't know why. And so I made sure I got permission from my mission president to contact him since he was not in Arizona. Our Facebook was to be used for people in Arizona. And so I remember asking like, hey, can I talk to her? Get approval to talk to him. He's like, yeah, go ahead, sure. Like I told him kind of like the backstory, like, hey, I just felt really prompted to. And I remember reaching out to this person and just honestly saying like, hey, how are you doing? And then I remember my friend like reaching out. I felt like he was almost a stranger at that point, but I remember him reaching out to me and just honestly saying, you know what, I've been really struggling in my life. He'd had gone down a pathway and made certain choices that really limited him in his life. And I remember him, he turned to drugs, some really hardcore drugs, and that he had was really looking for a way out of it, and he couldn't because he just become so enwrapped in the addiction. And I remember he told me this afterwards, me knowing this after the fact, but with any addiction, you're trying to figure out how to get out of it. And for us as members, we teach that the only way through any addiction or any challenge in life is through Jesus Christ, relying on him and the atonement. And I remember just when he opened up to me, like it was about like 3-4 days after I'd messaged him initially, he told me all this. And I remember him like bringing it up because I made some small talk. I just said, hey, like, I don't know how to tell you this, buddy, but I just felt prompted to talk to you. Like, I don't know what's going on in your life. And he opened up and said that. He's like, I have a drug addiction. I have this problem. I want to get out of it. And I've been praying for a sign, say, God, like, help me. I want to get out of this. And I remember him telling me that. And I remember just sitting there, like, when I got that message, him saying, because he said he took my response or my talking to him as that sign. And I remember just sitting there thinking like, I'm so glad I followed that prompting to talk to him. And I remember just crying a lot at that because I realized how amazing it was to be able to respond to the Spirit. That's one of the things you'll hear missionaries or members say is that when you respond to a prompting of the Spirit, and often we don't find out the full effects of it, but to find out that, and he cleaned up his act. He said that was the turning point for him to clean up his act. He got out of the drugs. It was still a process, but for him it restored. He said it helped rebuild a seed of faith in the gospel because he'd strayed from it in his high school years. And he said that he started going to church again, and and I encouraged him, like, hey, read the Book of Mormon, those typical missionary things like read, pray, and everything. And I remember him always telling me his progress he'd made, and his parents reached out to me and said thank you for that. And that was one of the biggest experiences in my life that helped me realize that Heavenly Father definitely knows where he wants you to be, and it's up to us to respond to that. And it was really amazing for me to see that. And I've always looked back at that experience of wondering if like I needed to learn something in Malaysia and then go over to serve in Phoenix to be able to reach them, because in Malaysia in that mission I couldn't use Facebook. So I've always thought about that and how Heavenly Father used that opportunity. He didn't, I don't think he planned on me, like, yes, like go have a concussion or anything, but he took that opportunity to be able to use that experience and for me to use that to help me grow, and also for my friend. And that was just one experience that really helped me realize to always look out for what the Lord wants you to do and not per se complain about where you are in life or if you're in a foreign mission versus stateside.